Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Henderberg, and I specialize in helping businesses to document their systems. And I do that with effective playbooks that are accessible to everybody on their staff. Now, raise your hands if you own a business or if you manage a business. A lot of business owners, all right. And how many people face problems every day, maybe with their employees, or things don't go exactly how they should in your business? A lot of people, right? That's very common. So today I'd like to talk about a very powerful idea that I've kind of seen throughout my career, and that's that every single problem you're facing in your business is actually a process-related system issue. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that everything that you're facing can be improved if you fix one of three things. Now, the first is if you're not going to have a process at all. This means you have not documented how you do your work. The second thing is you have a failure to follow a process. So you've got one in place, but people aren't really taking it seriously. The third one is following an outdated process. It's not really valid any longer. Now, as a business consultant, why do I find process documentation to be the most important thing to running your successful business, right? Anybody can run a business, but to do it well, process documentation is the key. And I believe this because it's the common thread that binds every single organization. It doesn't matter if you're a franchise, for-profit, not-for-profit, if you're selling a service, a good, it doesn't matter. If you don't have good processes and you haven't written them down, you're not going to be successful because you can't share how you run your business, okay? Let's dive this a little bit deeper. Let me back up here. So the first one is absence of a process. I like to use an analogy for this as if you were going to be building a house. So you bought some property, you're all excited, you hire the best plumbers, you hire the best electricians, framers, you got everybody together, say, meet me at the property on Monday. Everybody gets there. You just tell them, I want a nice house. I'll be back in a month. What's going to happen? You're going to have chaos, right? So this is how people run their business often. You hire very skilled people who know how to do their job. Everybody on those construction crews know how to do their job, but they don't know how to do it with the rest of the team on the business. And that's when things fail. So you're going to have people showing up at different times. I don't know if I'm supposed to work first or if you're supposed to work first. I don't know what quality level you want, what style house. None of that's going to be taken into consideration, and you're going to have failure, okay? So sometimes when I've given this kind of analogy in different business settings, one time I got a guy that raised his hand. He said, I've got this employee, Bill, and he doesn't fit what you're talking about here. That's too superficial. Bill works in accounting. He covered for payroll last week. He made a bunch of mistakes. We had some problems. But it's Bill's problem. He should have known how to do his job. It's his fault. Well, I always ask everybody to look a little bit deeper and ask, did you truly give that employee the proper guidance that they needed to do their job well? Because it's our job as good leaders to provide that framework for everybody to succeed on your team, all right? So that was number one. Number two is failure to follow a process. So this one I see happen in a number of different ways, but a couple of common ones would be, first of all, maybe you've written down things, but it's too complex. Page after page after page, nobody wants to read. That's boring, right? So you don't bother doing it. Maybe you didn't include videos. Or another situation is you've written it down, you've printed it out, thought this is going to be great, put it in a binder. I put it under Jerry's desk in that dirty office, and ain't nobody going in Jerry's office to get that process. So you don't read it, right? Another option is that you haven't made people accountable for that process, so they don't look at it and they skip steps. So think if you had a sales team, and then you had a separate department that was pulling in leads for that sales team. And when they were out talking to the social media people, they said, I'll just do it my own way. They give them different specifications. And now you're paying for the social media companies bad leads. You're paying an employee to do the job well, or not well. And insult to injury, you've got a sales team that's out running those leads, and they can't close the deals. Not good, because somebody didn't follow it consistently. Consistency is the key to running a good business by following processes. And when you do that, when you follow each step, you have a system. A system is a series of processes that you're doing over and over again. Next thing is we've got we're following a process, but it's outdated. And this is something I see very often these days because stuff is changing so fast, right? So you could have your customers' expectations are different, or the level of quality that your quality manager is different, or you put a new machine on your floor, whatever the situation. If things change, you have to update the process. So if we look back at Bill again, maybe you did have a good framework for Bill, and he was filling in for his coworker, and he followed everything on their steps that you showed him you wanted to do. But Bill failed. He didn't do payroll right. Did Bill come in to the office that day saying, I'm going to do a bad job? No. Nobody comes to work to do a bad job intentionally. It just doesn't happen. Bill failed. He feels bad. But what's worse, somebody didn't get their paycheck that week because you skipped steps. That's the power of doing things right and having a consistent process that everybody follows. How do you create that system? Very simply. We're going to go through and you would document everything in a very simple software that is accessible by everybody. That's the key. You're going to define the roles and responsibilities for everybody on your team so that they know how their work fits into the bigger picture in the company. You're going to document the most critical steps first. Payroll is a good example, right? You cannot fail to do that. You're going to design your steps with more engaging media, videos, pictures, maybe a different language. You have to find out how your employees need to learn so that you can have them working successfully. You're going to delegate that to everybody so they know this how to do that. You're going to give them quizzes potentially. Find a way to make them accountable. And lastly, we're going to dissect those and continuously improve those systems by bringing them up in maybe your sales meeting or in some other weekly meeting so that everybody knows how to do them well. So from these examples, I hope you see how important and fundamental this work is to running a successful business. It's not just about operating your business and going through the motions every day. When you write things down, it becomes very clear how you can be successful. So if you're facing a problem in the future, remember to trust the process. If you're still having problems, give me a call and I'll help you out. Thanks.